And then you add in the drama of alliances gone wrong, those partnerships that just scream trouble from the start. It's like a recipe for some serious fallout. And that's kind of where we're at with this whole Lil Meech, 50 Cent, and Rick Ross situation.
It's messy, that's for sure. And it's been making headlines all over the place. I mean, it really gives you a glimpse into the behind-the-scenes workings of the entertainment world, doesn't it? All those power plays and relationships, it can get pretty wild.
So true. And we've been digging deep into all of it. Today, we're going to try and make sense of this whole thing, break down how things went south between these guys, the accusations flying back and forth, and, well, what looks to be at the heart of it all, Lil Meech's choices and what they've meant for him.
Yeah, because the steps that led to this point, I mean, they really tell a story, a story about how things work or maybe how they don't in this industry.
So let's start from the top. The first signs of trouble between 50 Cent and the Meech family seem to have popped up when Big Meech, Lil Meech's father, got out of prison and was seen hanging out with Rick Ross.
Right from the get-go. And 50 Cent, well, he didn't waste any time. He came out and accused Big Meech of snitching. Now, you gotta understand, in that world, that's a serious, serious claim. Like, it carries a lot of weight, and there can be real consequences,
And Big Meech, we've heard, he completely denied it. He even put out a video saying he'd rather die than be a snitch.
Yeah.
But 50 Cent? Well, he didn't seem convinced.
Nope, not at all. 50 Cent is claiming he's got court documents to back up his accusations, specifically mentioning third-party cooperation with Tammy Collins. And that's heavy stuff right there. It really fueled the fire from the beginning.
It's interesting though, right? Because 50 Cent's criticism didn't just stop with Big Meech. It kind of spilled over onto his son, Lil Meech, who, of course, is the star of 50 Cent's show, BMF.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really tricky, right? You've got family ties clashing with professional relationships. Lil Meech was caught in the middle, trying to navigate his father's new friendship with the very guy who gave him his big break.
Sounds like Lil Meech tried to play both sides, at least at first. Even after 50 Cent unfollowed him on Instagram, which, let's be real, is a pretty public way of saying we're done in the world of celebrity, Lil Meech reportedly reached out directly to 50.
Yeah, there's word of a text message Lil Meech sent to 50 Cent where he basically said he had no real love for Rick Ross. He even wrote F. Ross. It seems like he was trying to reassure 50 Cent, showing him where his loyalty really was, or at least that's what it seemed like then.
And he didn't stop there. He pledged his loyalty, saying he'd take my shirt off his back for 50 Cent. He even mentioned his expensive Cuban link chain like it was a symbol of his commitment. It seemed like he was really trying to smooth things over.
Oh, absolutely. He must known things could get bad with his dad being tight with 50 Cent's rival.
Yep.
He was trying to distance himself, make sure 50 Cent knew he was on his side.
But then everything shifted. And I mean dramatically, when 50 Cent hinted that he might drop Lil Meech from BMF.
That was the turning point for sure. It looks like that's when Lil Meech changed his tune, or at least how he showed his loyalty publicly.
And then boom, he's down in Miami hanging out with Rick Ross and Floyd Mayweather, the very people 50 Cent was feuding with.
It's a powerful image, isn't it? It says a lot. And there's that Instagram post everyone's talking about, Lil Meech with Ross and Mayweather, and the caption, "Real power, oh, you already know." That's basically calling 50 Cent out, right?
And 50 Cent, well, he wasn't going to let that slide. He reportedly fired back with his own post, making fun of Lil Meech, and even talking about sending Big Meech wings. Which, let's be honest, is a pretty brutal thing to say. It implies that the only way he'll see Big Meech again is if he's dead or back in prison.
Oh, no doubt. Things escalated quickly. It got really personal really fast.
And here's the thing. Beyond the shifting alliances and all that, there are some serious accusations floating around about how Lil Meech was handling his money and some pretty concerning details about his personal life. The main claim is that he blew through his BMF bag way too quickly. And I guess we should clarify, BMF bag probably means all the money he was making from the show, salary, endorsements, all the extra opportunities that came with it.
Right, exactly. It's all the benefits that came with being the star of a hit show. And the numbers people are throwing around are pretty shocking. Supposedly, Lil Meech spent $5 million in just 3 years. That's a lot of cash to go through in a short amount of time.
And where did it all go? Apparently he was spending it on designer clothes, flashy jewelry, and there are even rumors of an addiction to whippets, laughing gas. That detail about the whippets is concerning, right? Makes you wonder if he was struggling with substance abuse. and if that affected his judgment.
No question. It raises a lot of questions about the choices he was making and his well-being during that time.
And get this, it seems he didn't invest any of it, didn't save anything, not even for his dad's potential release. That's a big point of criticism, right? It suggests he wasn't thinking ahead, maybe focused on the here and now instead of planning for the future, both for himself and potentially for his family.
It does. And then you add in what Tony Yayo has been saying. He's claiming Lil Meech acted entitled, even asking for handouts while he was blowing tons of money on luxury stuff. Like, there's one story about him spending $100,000 on jeans. That paints a pretty clear picture of someone who might not have been ready for all that money and fame, you know? It's a stark contrast, asking for money one minute, dropping insane amounts on clothes the next.
But here's the other side of it. Lil Meech himself has reportedly said he was lost before 50 Cent came along and gave him this chance. That adds another layer to it all, right? Almost a tragic element. It sounds like 50 Cent really did give him a life-changing opportunity.
Oh, without a doubt. 50 Cent took a gamble on a guy with zero acting experience. Not only did he give him his first role, but he paid for 2 years of acting lessons before even casting him as the lead in a major show.
That's a huge show of support, right?
Yeah.
And then to see how it allegedly played out, well, it's no wonder there's such a strong reaction.
And then things get even wilder with 50 Cent coming out with more allegations. One of the most interesting ones is that Big Meech was supposedly jealous of the bond 50 Cent had with Lil Meech, even thinking 50 was a better father figure. If that's true, it adds a whole other level of complexity to their family dynamics, right? It suggests there might have been tension within the Meech family itself. Totally. And on top of that, there are accusations that Lil Meech showed up to the BMF set high. That's not just personal, it's unprofessional. It impacts the whole production, everyone who's working on the show.
And 50 Cent reportedly confronted him about it, even paid for him to go to rehab after finding out about his alleged addiction to whippets. That shows a level of care that goes beyond just a working relationship, you know? It seems like he genuinely tried to help him.
For sure. And there was a post 50 Cent made, then deleted, where he questioned if Lil Meech threw away his chance or if he was being used, and he mentioned that Big Meech apparently downplayed the drug use.
It sounds like 50 Cent was trying to figure out what was really going on, you know? Like maybe he felt betrayed after everything he'd done for Lil Meech.
And it's not just 50 Cent saying these things. Apparently, other people saw Lil Meech acting impaired on set, specifically Russell Hornsby and someone called Ian. Having multiple people from the production back up these claims adds weight to the idea that his alleged substance abuse was affecting his work. Exactly. If it was just 50 Cent, you might wonder. But when other people in the industry are saying the same things, it starts to feel more credible, right?
And it goes beyond 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Some industry insiders, like this underground rapper named Brick Baby, they've reportedly backed up the rumors about Lil Meech's drug use. The fact that this was being talked about more widely suggests that his problems weren't exactly a secret.
Right. It wasn't just whispers behind closed doors. And Brick Baby was pretty harsh, specifically calling out Lil Meech for not supporting Big Meech financially.
That ties back into the whole financial responsibility thing, you know? It makes you think about where his priorities were when he had all that money coming in.
So what does that leave us? Well, it sounds like Lil Meech is freaking out, realizing that he might have messed up big time. People keep saying he fumbled the biggest bag of his life. And he's reportedly angry at Rick Ross, feeling like he used his dad's name to get attention, you know?
It sounds like he's starting to see that maybe aligning with Ross wasn't the best move, maybe even feeling used. And here's the interesting part. It doesn't seem like fans are feeling too sorry for him. Maybe they think he got handed an amazing opportunity and just blew it. Maybe they see it as him being disloyal to 50 Cent. It's hard to say for sure.
It's a tough lesson, right? About being accountable and meeting the expectations that come with those kinds of chances.
We've heard Lil Meech is trying to clean up his image, make things right with people in the industry. I mean, it's a natural reaction when your career is on the line, right?
Absolutely. It makes sense that he'd be trying to salvage things.
But there's a piece missing here, a big one, 50 Cent. He hasn't said a word, and that silence speaks volumes, you know? After everything he said publicly and with how serious this betrayal seems to be, it's hard to imagine them patching things up anytime soon.
Yeah, that silence is deafening, isn't it? It points to a major loss of trust.
So we're left with some pretty big questions. Can Lil Meech actually recover from this, or is his career toast? And what was Rick Ross really up to in all of this?
Those are the million-dollar questions. The entertainment industry can be forgiving, but it also remembers, especially when it comes to loyalty and wasted potential. It's a steep climb for Lil Meech to get back in 50 Cent's good graces, someone that powerful, and to prove to everyone that he can be trusted, that he can be professional. As for Rick Ross, well, it's hard to know what's going on in his head, but this whole thing suggests that maybe he wanted to stir up trouble with a rival and use the drama to his advantage.
Looking at the whole picture, it's a wild story. Lil Meech's rise to fame was fast, but his fall from grace might be even faster. It seems like a combination of bad choices, who he aligned himself with, how he handled his money, and some personal struggles, all playing out against the backdrop of that ongoing feud between 50 Cent and Rick Ross.
It's a reminder, isn't it, about the pressures that come with being famous, the importance of making smart decisions, and how tricky it is to navigate loyalty in a world where the stakes are so high.
This whole saga really makes you think, how often do things like this happen behind the scenes in Hollywood with all the power dynamics and the allure of fame? And what can we learn from Lil Meech's story? About loyalty, about making the most of opportunities, and ultimately about taking responsibility for our choices when so much is on the line. It's a lot to unpack, that's for sure.